Moulsham High School's BBC School Report with me, Emily.
And me, Sam. This afternoon's headlines. First, the loss of Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 has devastated families around the globe. Over to Charlie with the latest developments in the case.
There is a serious concern about the missing Malaysian aircraft. No one knows where it is. No one knows what actually happened, and no one knows why it happened. Large objects have been spotted from a French satellite 1,680 miles off the coast of Perth. At this point, the families of the people aboard the flight MH370 are hoping for the best. We've asked some people around the school and their opinion.
What are your feelings towards the subject?
Oh, I feel quite sad.
And when did you find out about it?
A couple of weeks ago.
And do you think it's a terrorist plot or inside job?
I think it's an inside job.
Yeah. Aircraft.
I think it must be really emotional for families that have had children that have might have been on the plane or relatives.
And when did you hear about it?
About 2 weeks ago.
And do you think it's terrorists or an inside job?
I think it could be terrorists because I don't see how they can just lose a plane randomly in the air.
The topic of the European Union is one that has caused fierce debate in recent months since restrictions on Romanian and Bulgarian immigrants were lifted. BBC reporter Kate has more on the most recent debate.
Today I interviewed teachers and pupils about Nigel Farage's demands on all EU migrants to have a work permit. On Wednesday the 26th of March 2014 there was a live debate between Farage and Clegg. Based on this information, I asked questions and people from Moulsham High School's opinions on expelling migrants, how migrants move freely around Europe and their personal views. What is your opinion on expelling jobless EU migrants?
I think after a period of time, if they haven't secured jobs, they should go back to their country of origin.
What are your views on migrants moving freely around Europe?
Well, I applaud that because I think it should be a very fluid sort of market where skills can actually be sort of shared between the EU countries.
How would you be affected if EU migrants were sent home?
I suppose we get worse services because a lot of people are employed in all levels of sort of jobs, but I don't think I'd know directly.
What is your opinion on expelling jobless EU migrants?
I think it's unfair because people may not be able to get a job and everyone has their right to live wherever they want kind of thing.
What are your views on migrants moving freely around Europe?
If they're European, then they're kind of like Europe's as a whole, so they can move where they like.
How would you be affected if EU migrants were sent home?
I wouldn't be affected because I was born here.
What is your opinion on expelling jobless EU migrants?
When people come into this country, I think we should welcome them as part of a member country of the EU, so I've got no problem with them coming into the country. However, I do think they need to contribute if they are going to come and stay in the country, so therefore, if they're going to take the benefits of everything that their government and we provide, then they should participate and be in work. As to if they can't find work, that's different to if they don't want to work.
What is your opinion on expelling jobless EU migrants?
Okay, my opinion, I think, is it depends on their political migrants. If basically they're refugees that have been forced to come to this country due to some problems elsewhere and they've not got any choice to return, I think that's that they should be allowed to stay. However, most of these people are economic ones. They're here to gain money or benefits, and therefore I think if they're unable to gain a job here in this country within the first few months, I think there should be a really good reason why they shouldn't return to their own country to save us from paying benefits out.
What are your views on migrants moving freely around Europe?
I think there should be some movement allowed because I think it's good for British people to go abroad across Europe and be allowed to work in other countries. But at the same side, I think you've got to weigh that up with actually allowing jobs here for British people.
How would you be affected if EU migrants were sent home?
Myself personally, I'd probably be worse off because I think most of the EU migrants that come to this country don't go into the line of work like teaching. A lot of these jobs tend to be filled by Eastern Europeans that do unskilled jobs. So I certainly get my car washed for a fiver locally at weekends, and that certainly wouldn't exist anymore.
A recent survey by the HM Inspectorate of the Constabulary has shown that police are failing to deal with domestic abuse cases adequately. BBC's Lucy has more on this report.
In a report released today, it was discovered that police have not been handling domestic abuse cases correctly. There is serious concern for forces in Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Gloucestershire and Greater Manchester. It It was reported that the police were failing to photograph and document the victims' injuries. The victims also stated that they felt that their claims were not believed or taken seriously. Out of the 43 forces situated in the country, only 8 are performing to the expected standards. We interviewed some people around our school to find out their opinions on this story.
Still put your trust in the police even after knowing about this failing list?
Yes, because while they're not doing amazingly, I think that they still mean well and they're not completely failing, just not very efficient.
Do you think that even while some of the victims were saying that they didn't feel the police believed their stories?
Yes, because they might have had a bone to pick with someone and came up with a story, and you can't just ignore domestic abuse, so they know that there would be an inquiry into it.
So you think that these victims were actually making it up?
Not necessarily. I think it's very serious and most people would tell the truth about it, but I think it is plausible that some would be.
And what do you think that needs to be done to fix this problem?
I think they should have more inquiries.
Do you still trust the police knowing about these failures?
I do trust the police. I think they do a good job in many areas, but with domestic abuse I think it is probably such a huge problem that perhaps they don't always have the resources they need to be able to cope with it. I hope that if there are calls going through that are serious and need answering and need a response quite quickly, that they would respond to it. I believe that they would, but obviously if this report in the paper says they're not, then obviously perhaps there's a lack of money or a lack of resources.
So what do you think needs to be done to solve the problem?
Well, obviously if they need more resources, they need more money to tackle the problem. Perhaps the police officers themselves need more training in domestic abuse. That could be an issue. But at the end of the day, I guess it could be just a lack of money, a lack of time and a lack of men on the ground to actually go and check these things out.
So you feel it's a lack of funding rather than the police's attitudes towards the cases that's causing these problems?
Well, I don't know really what their attitude is, not having actually read the newspaper report, but I would have thought that if someone really was in danger that they would respond to that. But if there is training needed, then obviously they should get it.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you still put your trust in the police knowing that they failed in these cases?
Yes, I think I do. But it's important that the police should recognise that there is a problem and that there is some sort of training going on that's going to improve.
And what do you think needs to be done to solve these problems?
Well, I think they have to look at and involve the people that are abused to find out, what the evidence is. What is the evidence that people haven't been represented properly, investigated properly? And if that's the case, it should be documented, and that then becomes a plan for dealing with it in the future.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Would you still put your trust in the police knowing that they've got such major flaws?
Absolutely. In the experience that I've had in terms of my neighbours, I know for a fact that within 5 minutes of being called to a domestic abuse case, the police were actually already there knocking on the door, checking to see if everything was okay. Fortunately, everything was, but their response time says to me that actually there are some forces out there that are doing exactly the kind of thing that we would hope they would be doing.
Well, what do you think needs to be done about the forces that aren't doing quite so well?
I do think that there needs to be maybe some kind of protocol that's put across all police officers, in that they have got these times, like the ambulance do, they've got to be there within kind of 8 minutes, that with these kinds of cases where actually it's paramount that they get there so quick, they actually have like a target time that they have to get to the incident in.
Okay, that's it.
Okay.
The entertainment world was rocked yesterday by the news that Hollywood actress Gwyneth Paltrow and music star Chris Martin are to divorce. BBC reporter Lauren gets the reactions from around Moulsham High School.
Yesterday, famous Coldplay singer Chris Martin and actress Gwyneth Paltrow announced their plans to divorce. The announcement came through Gwyneth's blog, Goop. After being married for 11 years with 2 children, they feel the fact that they have an unstable relationship for more than 5 years now. The blog post, Conscious Uncoupling, was posted while on an island in the Bahamas. They flew to the island last week with their 2 children, Apple and Moses. References to the breakup can be found in Coldplay's new album, featuring new songs Another's Arms and True Love. We got reactions to the tragic news from Chris and Gwyneth's fans.
It's recording.
Okay. What was your reaction to hearing about the breakup?
I was quite sad because they was always such like a really good couple. Yeah.
Did you see the breakup coming?
No, because they always worked so well together and they always seemed like a perfect little couple in harmony.
Do you think that the new songs reflected the breakup?
Yeah, I suppose they did. Yeah. That's the end.
What was your reaction to hearing about the breakup?
I was really upset because I'm a massive fan of Chris Martin. Gwyneth Paltrow is beautiful, so I was really upset.
Did you see the breakup coming?
No, I didn't. It was like out of the blue. I hadn't heard any of the rumours before, so I was quite shocked.
Do you think that the new songs reflected the breakup?
It's a good point actually. They do write quite depressing songs sometimes, so maybe. I'm not really sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
And in sports news, Manchester United's abysmal run came to a head this weekend with another crippling defeat. BBC Sport reporter Harry has the latest.
Manchester United have been for some time one of the most successful teams in British football, winning the Premier League title 13 times. However, with the retirement of Sir Alex Ferguson, this position is starting to look a little shaky. Replacement David Moyes has led his team to 12 points of 4th place compared to last year where they won the league by 11 points. We spoke to various football fans about Man U's less than stellar performance.
What do you think of David Moyes?
I think he is not very good compared to Alex Ferguson.
What, in your opinion, is the cause of their below-par performance?
I think that they should pick up their game because they're not performing to their full standard.
Why do you think Alex Ferguson chose David Moyes as the manager?
Because he has been very successful at Everton.
Think of David Moyes.
I don't think he's been given enough of a chance yet. I mean, if we look back kind of over Alex Ferguson's career, it took him kind of 4 or so years to actually do anything decent with the team, and then look kind of where he went on to. So I think that Moyes needs to be given a bit more of a chance to kind of bed in first, really.
Would you be surprised if I told you this is Man U's worst season in 24 years?
No.
Why do you think of Alex Ferguson chose David Moyes as the manager?
I genuinely don't know, to be honest. I mean, he did really good things at Everton, from what I understand, and so therefore kind of hoping that he would be able to do something similar with, carry on that trend with Man United.
What do you think of David Moyes?
David Moyes is a complete failure.
Would you be surprised if I told you this is Man U's worst season in 24 years?
No, I wasn't.
What, in your opinion, is the cause of this less than stellar performance?
Because he had to deal with a lot of pressure being at Man United, which is a very big club.
Why do you think Alex Ferguson chose David Moyes as the manager?
Because he was having great success at Everton.
And in local Essex news, an inspiring lady has told the BBC the key to her 100-year life. BBC reporter Ed gets the reaction to her news.
Today I decided to interview some people about Rosalie Jenkins. She is a woman who recently turned 100 at Windle Court, Southwood Ferris. She's an inspiration, saying that she thinks laughter and food is the key to a long life. Would you believe that a lady of her age could do Tai Chi? It's amazing. We went around and asked some people what they thought were 2 things that would lead them to a long life. Do you agree with Rosalie, and why?
So Rosalie thinks that the secret of long life was food and happiness, I think you said? Yes, so I agree with her.
What would you say were 2 important things for a long life?
And to keep mentally active and to try and have a good quality of life.
Do you think you'd be able to do Tai Chi if you reach 100?
I wouldn't want to do it now, so I don't know what to do it.
Do you agree with Rosalie, and why?
Do I agree with her formula for having a long and happy life, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think laughter and seeing the funny side of things is really good. I like the idea that she likes to try and make other people happy and laugh too. Clearly she's got a good family and she enjoys her family, and she seems as if she had quite a successful job as a window dresser and silver service waitress, so it's always nice to have that to look back on, those memories.
What would you say are two important things for a long life?
I think being interested in other people as well as yourself. Don't focus too much on your own needs, but think about other people. And look forward to things, so planning and preparing nice things to look forward to.
And do you think you'd be able to do Tai Chi if you reach 100?
Probably not. I'd like to be able to, but I don't think so.
Thank you.
Do you agree with Rosalie, and why?
Yes, I agree with her because she believes that love and laughter is the key to a long life, and I believe the same.
What would you say were two important things for a long life?
Well, laughter and happiness and stuff.
Do you think you'd be able to do...
Oh, you've ruined it.
You've ruined it now.
And finally, the birth of lambs in Essex has caused quite a stir. BBC reporter Lauren has more on this lovely springtime story.
A real sign that spring is finally here came this weekend as two lambs interrupted a bird display at Essex Farm. 300 people rushed to the pen to witness the birth of the new arrivals. The lambs came into the world on Sunday at Marsh Farm in South Woodham Ferrers, only 2 days after another pair arrived. The team are expecting up 12 to 15 lambs at any time. The lambing season starts in February and peaks in March, and around 500 lambs are born every year in the farm. Manager Elaine Godfrey told the BBC they have their own personalities. After a few days, when they're able to stand up, they start frolicking and playing. Don't they sound adorable? Viewers can go to the Marsh Farm Facebook page and name the newborn lambs. We asked the public what they would call their lambs. Here are some of the ideas.
I'd call a lamb Nigel.
Mary.
I'd call it Joseph.
So Sam, what would you name your lamb?
Mincemeat.
Well, that's not very nice.
It's a lamb, isn't it? So anyway, we now have Lauren with the weather.
Today will be cloudy, with some likely showers at 2. It will reach as high as 10 degrees before cooling down at 4, with 8 degrees until settling to 5 degrees at midnight. Tomorrow will be slightly warmer, starting at 5 degrees and coming to a steady increase at 11 degrees. It will be mostly cloudy and the sun will show for an hour at 3. It will decrease 1 degree at a time until 9, where it stays 7 degrees for the night.
So Lauren, what would you call your lamb?
I call my lamb Godfrey.
I think a much better name than mincemeat.
So anyway, thank you for listening to Moulsham High School's BBC School Report. I've been, and still am, Sam.
I've been Emily.
And I've been Lauren.
Goodbye.